Again, thank you so much for joining us here on Idaho Today. When you get into a car accident, not only is your safety a top priority, but so is your wallet. Craig Swapp shares advice on how to handle a crash and when to call a lawyer. Take a look at when they say to call a lawyer to protect your money. We are here today with the experienced personal injury attorney Craig and Ryan Swapp of Craig Swapp and Associates. They're here to share some advice on how to deal with insurance companies after an accident. Welcome to you both.
Thanks for having us.
All right. So I would like to know, let's say theoretically, you've been hit by a driver. Okay. What is the first thing that someone should do?
The very first thing is you got to understand whether you're hurt or not.
Okay.
But I think as a general rule, it's good to call the police and get the police involved. They can document insurances from both sides of the accident. And once that's started, then everything else can take place.
Okay. Once you've assessed that, I know a lot of people instantly, they go right to their vehicle damage, right? So how do you get that repaired?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there's generally two ways to go about it. So the first way is through either the at-fault person's insurance or your own insurance. And so if you go through the at-fault insurer, it's going to be a similar process, but essentially you'll make contact with them, set up a claim, and depending on whether your car is repairable or it's a total loss, there'll be two different routes that you go. If it's repairable, you can work with the body shop that you like to get your car repaired. If it's a total loss, you'll work with that insurance company to negotiate a fair market value settlement for your vehicle. Or if you don't want to go with the at-fault insurer, you can go with your insurer, and that assumes, though, that you have collision coverage on your policy and can pursue that.
Okay, so we got the car squared away, and you had mentioned figure out if you're injured first and foremost up front, right? Because that's obviously the major thing that you need to address. What about those medical bills and other damages? How does all that get covered?
Well, typically the at-fault party is the one that ultimately pays the medical bills.
Okay.
But that's something that we gather over time, as an individual recovers from their injury. So it's a process, but it's the thing that we encourage people to do is that if you're hurting, if you get checked out, it's better to do it soon rather than later. A lot of times if you wait, then people assume that something else caused the injury.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And so when you are in an accident, get checked out, make sure that you know exactly what's going on with you, and then it's a lot easier to resolve.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And when it comes to those medical bills as well, like you said, there's a process. Sometimes things occur a little bit down the road after the incident that actually caused the issue, right?
Right.
Yeah. So constantly keeping track of your records, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Very, very important, I imagine.
Yeah, I think an important point that we like to share with our clients is that you think of a legal case, that evidence is really important, right? And the medical records and bills are the evidence of your injuries. So it's really important and critical that folks talk to their doctors about every little thing that's hurting. A lot of times we see folks that'll, their neck and back hurts so bad that they go 3-4 months without ever telling anybody that their knee's been bothering them, right?
Yeah.
And so we're very clear with our clients that, hey, make sure you tell your doctors everything that's hurting, right? So that you can get it documented, and then you don't give the insurance company a reason not to pay for it.
Okay, and on that note, though, what are some of the tactics that the insurance companies will do to try to minimize or even eliminate settlement amounts?
Well, there's several of them, but one of them is they'll oftentimes offer a really small amount right up front. And it's attempting to take it. Sometimes they'll offer you a decent amount of money, but still you don't know what's wrong with you at that point in time. And so we really encourage your viewers to wait and make sure they fully understand what's going on with them before they do that.
Okay, so what is the role of a personal injury attorney? How would that be a big benefit for somebody in this type of situation?
Sure. Well, oftentimes we joke that if insurance companies took care of people, we would be out of a job. But the reality is that, they're a business. They're looking to collect more in premiums than they pay out in claims, and so they have every reason not to pay for things. And so what we do is we jump into the fray to make sure we keep them honest. And so that's what we do, is we help make sure our clients' medical bills get taken care of. And then we negotiate a reasonable, fair settlement for the inconvenience, the pain and suffering, everything they've had to go through, typically for 12, 18 months of time or longer. So that's what we do, is we try to keep the insurance companies honest. And I think what I really like most about what we do is that most folks generally are better off. Even after paying attorney's fees, they typically get more money than they otherwise would have than trying to do it on their own. And so we can really deliver almost a win-win type situation to our clients, where we take the headache of the claim and all those sorts of things off of their plate, so that they can focus on getting better. And at the end of the day, they're better off.
Wow. Okay, so where can our viewers go for more information?
Well, craigswap.com is our URL, and our phone number.
Yeah, 208-999-9999.
Wonderful. Both of you, thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Absolutely.
us.